So as we look across the board, healthy reefs, healthy people, healthy business.
Carl, there are reports that coral reefs are dying at a really alarming rate. So can you give us a bit of context on this, please?
So just in the last couple of months, we've seen a really dramatic change in terms of water temperature in a lot of places. So it's been building up over more than a year already, but now we've started to see reports. And as you can see behind me, this was photographed just this past week in the northern Ari Atoll in Maldives. A lot of corals are now being affected. So they're actually first bleaching, which means they kick out what is called a zooxanthellae, which is the sort of way of generating food for the coral, and they start starving. And if the water temperatures don't come down, within 3 weeks to 4 weeks or so, they will start to die. And then we'll actually see mass mortality. In some parts of the world, like the Great Barrier Reef, we've already seen this happen. So as much as a quarter of all the coral reefs in the northern Barrier Reef have died in the last 2 months.
And you've talked about the speed of the deterioration. So what's the future for coral reefs?
Well, we have to ask ourselves, are we actually going to be the last generation that will see functional, healthy reefs? And in some ways, maybe the scary answer is it could be yes. So we're seeing a dramatic shift right now around the world. A lot of coral reefs used to be maybe 90% corals. In the Caribbean right now, we on average say we have 14%, but a lot of these reefs actually are down to 4% or even less, which means that functionally they're not really coral reefs anymore. They're other types of algal reefs or something else. And there are a number of factors that really play into this. So the obvious one that has been key one here has to do with warming of water, which is associated with us burning fossil fuels. Beyond that, though, lots of places have local problems with agriculture runoff, be it fertilizers or pesticides. And another big problem in many places also is overfishing. So basically, in places where we fish too much, the reefs have less resilience, they have less ability to cope with these type of changes. In fact, over time, they will deteriorate.
And you've talked about agriculture and fishing, but what are the implications for businesses because of this deterioration?
Well, a lot of businesses depend on healthy reefs. So if you look at places like the Maldives, where we were just seeing this footage from, we will definitely have impacts on the industry. Not only are the tourists primarily coming there for the healthy, beautiful waters of the Maldives, but they're also coming there because the islands are there. Now, these islands were built by corals. Once the corals die, erosion will kick in, and over time we'll actually lose a number of precious places like this. So I think for industry and for certain types of businesses, this really does matter. A lot of low-lying infrastructure also is at risk. So currently reefs help defend some of the ports in a sense. You have to build a lot more to protect these ports now, so that's going to be an extra cost for a number of industries. Other types of industries also depend on this shoreline. For example, aquaculture, which we're so dependent on now for food. So as we look across the board, healthy reefs, healthy people, healthy business.
Well, it definitely has a really significant impact. So thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights with us.
My pleasure to be back.
Thank you. Well, that's all from myself and Carl Gustaf, but for all the latest updates and exclusive market moves, do keep clicking back to Gustaf TV.